All right, so we're going to review the MyMedic Tactical First Aid Kit. That's the one I ordered. I've been wanting to check these things out for a while, honestly, and they just keep coming up on targeted ads. Finally, I just buckled down and I bought one. It came with this free burn pack as well. Right off the back, pulling it out of the package, I do like the aesthetic of it. I like how it's small and compact. I personally was trying to purchase something that was like similar to what I use in the military, like a small patrol bag that was just set up for massive bleeds, stuff for airway, stuff to treat sucking chest wounds, stuff to treat like tertiary bleeds. So I chose the Tactical First Aid Kit. This is their version of a tourniquet. It's the RATS tourniquet. I don't really know how to use it. I'm used to like the cat tourniquets, but it's cool and it looks sturdy and it's detachable in this little pouch here. And I do want to actually kind of play with it more. So I'll make a video about that if you guys are interested in it and kind of how to use some of these things. All right, broad overview. It is kind of set up with PMARCH-P, move the patient, manage their massive bleeds. A was airway, R respiration, circulation, where you treat some of those like tertiary wounds, you start your IV, all that stuff. Head and hypothermia. Pain management was like kind of the last one. Comfort measures, basically. So it is set up to that in a similar sense, but I think there's some things in here that are kind of gimmicky or not necessary, but that's just my opinion. I still think overall it's a good product. This is kind of one of those things where it's like, now that I'm an RN, I need to think about gloves, right? In the military, you don't really carry those. So I think it's a good thing to have in there, but it does take up space because again, I'm looking for like shit hits the fan. I just want something that's going to keep me or my friend stable. I'm going to stop here just because I don't love the QuikClot. The QuikClot we used in the military was powder, and there was a sponge one as well. And they were more for managing like massive hemorrhaging, so like arterial bleeds. But this QuikClot is kind of more for what seems like minor wounds. I mean, it even says on the instruction, minor wounds, cuts, abrasions. It's probably more useful than what I'm describing, but again, I personally was just looking for like a more of a pack that was like committed to trauma, which they do have like a more massive hemorrhage bleeding type bag, but I think it's like twice the price. So for a tactical first aid kit, I was kind of hoping for, so maybe my expectations were weird, but I was kind of hoping for something that was a little bit more focused on a smaller version of just life-saving stuff, which this is not. But again, probably more useful because it's more likely that you get a kind of a gash that's not going to kill you, but needs to be like dressed, and this would be perfect for that. This, however, is more towards the capability of being able to manage a bigger bleed. And so I do love that this is in here because there's lots of ways you can use like a good pressure bandage. Marker, I mean, it's good. Sharpie is good for anything. It's kind of a cheap one, but obviously a Sharpie is useful. But it just kind of shows that non-committal, like, is this a trauma bag or is it just a first aid kit? And if it's just a first aid kit, why does it really need a Sharpie? You know, it's a nice added thing. I'm not trying to hate on the company. This bag is set up for shit hitting the fan, then yeah, the Sharpie is handy. But if it's not, if it's set up for kind of like that, more of the QuikClot version of emergencies, then Sharpie's not necessary. You don't need to write the date and time on your friend's abrasion you just healed. So if that makes sense. This I do like, compressed gauze. It's super compact and there's a good amount of gauze in there, and it even shows you how to use it where you're applying pressure, feeding more in through into the wound with this other hand, never letting off pressure until you've replaced that pressure with the other hand, and then taking the other one and keep going, feeding in gauze after gauze after gauze, and then holding pressure. And once that pressure has been held for a certain amount of time, I would then apply like, you know, the pressure dressing, and keep it like constantly dressed. But So I do like this. There's only one though, so I feel like they could have done without some of the other things and maybe put a couple of these in here, which I really do like. Looks like 4 yards of, does it say 4 yards there of gauze, which is it's pretty good. So this is where you get to kind of some of the like little ancillary things that I don't think are super, obviously they're important. But again, if this is a, oh God, I really need to save someone's life pack, I'm not worried about the super wash. If this is a first aid kit exclusively, then yeah, the glove, the little mini tools, yeah. Tweezers, I guess, are handy. Rape whistle. Whistle, I guess, is just good in general, but some of these little things I don't need or love. Even this, it's like if I have my phone on me, I can check to see. I'm going to notice if it's not nighttime, if your eyes are, one's blown out and one's pinpoint, among other things. But the pen light, has a lot of uses. I do like the pen light. It's not, it would be on the borderline list for me. This is more, so this is going back to airway, if we're following that PMARCH-P acronym. Airway, a nasal pharyngeal airway for somebody who's got a gag reflex present and they're not unconscious, but you want to secure that airway. Nasal pharyngeal, it's perfect. I do like that that's in here. These I haven't played with, but I really like that. I really like these as like a first aid type thing, but I haven't played with them, but I do like that they are a product that exists because I feel like they're going to be utilized. But is it life-saving? Is it super emergent to have these in here? Not really, but it's a nice product to own, to maybe have in your like first aid kit, maybe even at home. I keep steri strips. I probably have some next to me, honestly. I can't find them, but I do have steri strips somewhere in this vicinity, because I take them from work and I keep them in my first aid kit here. And by first aid kit, I mean just literally a little container that I keep like children's Tylenol, Band-Aids, stuff like that. Just basic stuff that you always use at your house. So I like these. Chest seals. So this is more what I'm talking about. This is, again, going back to airway, more so respirations. You're dealing with puncture wounds. And they're not hard to use, but the idea behind this is to seal up a hole in your chest, basically, and to avoid getting any sort of like airflow coming out and going in the wrong direction, right? So you want it to come out, but you don't want it to go in through 2 holes. As I breathe in, I don't want air going in here and air going in here. And if my lung is collapsed, then you don't want that cavity to fill up twice as fast because you have 2 holes letting air in. It does have that scannable QR code at the back, which I thought was really cool. But it links to a YouTube video, this YouTube video, which doesn't really go over chest seals, which I thought was kind of weird. It's catchy, it's cool. This guy has a lot of experience, it sounds like. But yeah, I just kind of thought it would be cooler if the QR code scanned to the specific product. So you scan it, you learn about chest seals. You learn about pressure dressings based on what package it's on. Those trauma shears are shitty. Space blanket. So this, again, going back to this, that's just my favorite thing that I saw on all the packaging. Don't panic. That's like the cardinal rule, right? Never freak out. Doesn't help anyone. But the blanket goes back to the PMARCH-P acronym again, like the last P or the last H and P, which is head and hypothermia, right? So you want to worry about head injuries after you've done all your other stuff, your life-saving things. You can get back to the end. You want to worry about head injuries. which you could argue the Perla pen is for. And the last H or the last P is pain management, but head injuries and hypothermia. So that blanket, or hyperthermia, that blanket is going to be, if you're in the middle of nowhere and your friend starts getting a little hypothermic, you can throw that space blanket on them. You know, it's common with burn injuries or even just coming out of shock, where you start to feel like real shivery. So yeah, I don't hate that that's in there. But overall, I would say it's a cool purchase. I'm glad I have it. I would tweak it. I'd say you buy it. It's a good starter kit, and then definitely change it to be tailored to what you specifically want. But it is a cool product, and I like how they have a YouTube presence, better than this one I have, where they kind of go through. It's more flashy. They go through different things that they can teach you. Overall, though, I think it's a little bit overpriced. Okay, overall, I do like it. I'm not trying to hate on MyMedic. I think it's cool. I like what they're doing. I like that they have like educational YouTube videos. I would purchase it and tailor it to yourself, like to what some of the things that I'm talking about, like some of the things you don't need, I would do away with those, maybe upgrade the shears, change some of these products out for more life-saving things, maybe double up the compressed gauze. And I think you can buy all these individually there. So if I were to go back and change it, I would do away with the first aid type things, and I would add more compressed gauze. I would add maybe another pressure dressing if I could fit it. I like the nasopharyngeal airway. I might even add an oral one. I do like the CPR stuff. The blanket I would probably keep. I don't really need the gloves. It's probably the last thing I'm going to be thinking about. But overall, it's a cool kit. If you guys found this useful, let me know in the comments. If you want me to make more content like this, also let me know. And thanks for watching.